looking inside the box, here is how it's going to arrive. First thing is going to be your manual. So the manual is going to tell you about how to use that laser, how to install things correctly. And if you've never zeroed or leveled a scope before, there's some helpful information on that as well. A little bit about the laser in there as well. And moving on, here is your remote pad. If you want to use this with your scope instead of the on-off dial, you can use this. Look at that in a second. You have your scope lens cleaning cloth. And here's your optic. The optic comes with some colored, at least one side is colored lenses, protectors here. So these bikini caps have a little give to them, and one side is colored to perhaps protect you from glare or sunlight. And here's your optic. Now on the top of the optic, this right here is actually for actuating the laser. I'll bring it in a little closer. So if you want to adjust your laser, this gives you directions. So if you want to go up, you click it that way. If you want to go right, you click it that way, or left, the opposite. If you want to go down, it would just be the opposite. And so that right there is pretty self-explanatory. You're going to look through the scope and use those to dial it into the distance that you think you're most likely to use that laser, and it will be zeroed for you. Taking a look at how the laser works, I'm actually looking into a well-lit area, and you can see that laser pretty well. I would say that's quite a bright laser. Okay, that's just going on and off. It's in the position that your normal parallax dial would be, or your normal illumination would be. So not an illuminated reticle, but it does have this laser, which is unique and kind of interesting. So if I wanted to navigate that over, the first thing I would do is actually switch it to 9 power. If I'm going to center up that laser or make adjustments to the scope, the first thing I'm going to do is always make adjustments on max magnification. So when I dial on the scope, on those turrets, that's all going to be done on 9 power because the reticle is calibrated for that. So if I go for right about there on the corner of that, the corner of that yellow, now I can go ahead and make some adjustments to my laser. Going up, I think maybe one more click. And let's go a few clicks to the right. Let's see which direction. This direction. I would say that's about it right there. Maybe a click down or so. I'm about 40 yards from where I'm at right now. That looks pretty good. Looks trustworthy. And so if you're going just by laser alone, that's how that would work. And then if you were trying to designate a target like a coyote or a crow, or just some sort of afternoon evening shoot, and you want the person that you are shooting with to be able to spot or record your hunt, you could be looking at your target, you could turn on your laser and put the laser right on your target, like a coyote or a crow, and then your person who's filming would know exactly which target is designated. So there's a couple applications for something like that. Very unique. I don't believe I have seen a scope with an internal laser like that before. Here's your diopter. This is going to make the reticle sharp for you. So you make little adjustments to that and then just take a peek at the reticle each time as you're making small adjustments. And this moves really nice and freely. Plenty of range of travel. That's how you're going to make the reticle sharp. It's not going to make the image sharp. This image, the parallax is fixed at 100 yards. So that's going to be the most clear or in focus. And that's when the reticle also is going to make sense the most, as it's calibrated for 9 power with parallax being fixed at 100 yards. So you're going to have the least error right at 100 yards with that. The mag ring is relatively smooth. It is cold out right now. And this is actually pretty good. There's only a slight amount of if I can just show you that. A slight amount of tolerance issue there, but I kind of have to work for it, and it does move and actuate pretty smoothly overall. Okay, so 3 power, you get a nice wide field of view, but then if you actually want to use the reticle for holdovers, you would have to shoot it on 9 power. Because again, this is a second focal plane, the parallax is fixed at 100 yards, and you need to make sure that it's calibrated properly, being the way that this optic is configured. This is an interesting idea. So the laser here, which you can see is on, I do have a battery in there. That's an on-off toggle or dial. So just simply on or off. This doesn't do parallax or reticle illumination. It just does the laser. And if you wanted to switch that out, all a person would have to do is remove this cap and screw in this cap. And this is going to make connection with the battery. And then you would have to somehow attach this to your rifle or maybe the scope. And this is a momentary switch. It's not a permanent or on constant position switch. It's just momentary. So you would momentarily turn on the laser and then it would be off again. So you need to put it in a place, if you use this, where you can kind of hold your hand on it. One reason somebody might appreciate having a laser that's configured this way would be maybe you're trying to hunt as a party and you want to identify your target with a group of other people and let them know what you're looking at. You could put the laser right on it and you all could look through your optics and know which one you're aiming at, such as like maybe varmint hunting, raccoon hunting, coyote hunting late into the evening. Something like that could make some sense. Now here's your turrets on the top. It's going to tell you that it's a 1/4 inch at 100 yards. And the turrets also are click value of 100 yards, going to be 1/4 inch per click. That's generally accurate, but it's not super consistent. At price points like this, it's going to be, neighborhood, but you really wouldn't want to dial on turrets like this unless you really had to, or you're just adjusting a zero. Maybe you're compensating for having a silencer, something like that. Maybe weather changes on the fly. That's the value of having exposed turrets like this. They do make some sound, and I can feel them clicking, but the reliability is not going to be truly 1/4 inch. And return to zero is not going to be totally true either in something this price point. So don't give the scope unhealthy standards or expectations with the price point. It's just not going to match up. It does have witness marks underneath. Now the witness marks, again, it's more for just general utility. It's not for exactitude on an optic like this. There is a little bit of knurling, and even in the cold right now, it does seem to move freely enough. And I did see some movement in the right directions when I was using these and actually dialing on them. If you wanted to slip the scales and return it to zero, just loosen that head up while you hold onto the turret with a standard or a flathead there. Loosen it up, move the turret over. You could lift it off and move it over to zero. And then drop it back down. You could do the same for the windage. The reticle is not calibrated as an MOA or 1/4 inch adjustment. The reticle is like MilDots. So these do not match the reticle inside, and you would not want to dial unless you were attempting to dial for minutes of angle or just slight corrections. Otherwise, you just use holdovers inside the reticle like those milliradian based dots.